Hello and welcome to another NTS Test Talk. My name is Michael Morana and I'm the International Approvals Manager for NTS. Today we'll be discussing the UKCA mark and how the changes has affected manufacturers around the world since January 1st, 2021, when Brexit officially took full effect. As you can see from the map, the United Kingdom is made up of Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And today we're going to be talking about mainly three of those, which would be made up of make up Great Britain, which is Scotland, England, and Wales. Northern Ireland we'll be discussing briefly at the end of the presentation. Today's agenda will be Brexit and the United Kingdom's overview, requirements for selling into the UK, applying the UKCA mark, making and maintaining a UK Declaration of Conformity, commonly known as DLC. We'll have a summary and end with questions. As said before, the United Kingdom has officially left the European Union January 1st, 2021, and that's for purposes of compliance that we'll be talking about. Many of the processes, including the scope, documentation requirements, test standards, and conformity assessment procedures will remain the same as the EU, so nothing's really changed as what you've done before. It's just going to be catered to the United Kingdom's. However, there are changes that need to be followed to place your product on the UK market, and the three important changes are: number one, testing needs to be performed to new British standards and documented in test reports. Number two, the UK DLC, Declaration of Conformity, needs to be created and maintained. And number three, a UKCA mark needs to be applied to products. Testing to the British standards, we're going to be using electromagnetic compatibility as a reference. However, instead of electromagnetic compatibility, you could put radio regulations, you could put safety regulations, medical regulations, etc. But just for an example today, we're going to use electromagnetic compatibility. The legislation that has been created for the UK is Electromagnetic Compatibility Regulations 2016, number 1091. This is equivalent to a UK directive, and this reference specifically targets electromagnetic compatibility. The UK legislation references standards that are defined as designated standards, which is where we'll talk about, which allows a manufacturer of products to declare a presumption of conformity for products marketed in the UK. So for example, as shown below, the legislation reference for EMC is 2016, number 1091. And that calls out the designated standards that allows you to declare presumption of conformity. So for multimedia equipment for emissions, EN 55032, versions 2012, 2015, and 2017 are all equivalent, and if tested to in a prior test report, you can claim presumption of conformity to place that product on the UK market. The only difference between the three is the 2012 version has an expiration date of next year, April. So after that time, your test reports need to specifically state the 2015 or 2017 versions. And the good thing about those versions is most of the test reports and test labs now are referencing the later test standards because it's been in existence for quite some time. So again, no additional testing is needed for compliance into the UK. As long as this standards are harmonized, then you can use them in the called out by the designated standards, and nothing's really changed from the EU. So for example, all the standards are prefixed by either BS, EN, ISO, IEC. And for example, the EN prefix indicates that the standard has been adopted by the European standardizing body. These designated standards are specific and they're prefixed with EN. So it's acceptable to 34 national members of the CEN and CENELEC. CENELEC is European Committee for Electrotechnical Standardization. So the best example would be for BS EN 55032, 2015 Amendment 11, 2020 is equivalent to the DIN EN 55032, 2015 version, or simply just EN 55032, 2015. As you can see, the prefixes are different, but all are harmonized together. And since it's called out in the designated standards by the UK legislation, you can use that to claim presumption of conformity. Another one of the harmonized standards to that would be CISPR 32, 2015. So that's the international standard. So again, even though testing needs to be noted that was done to the British standards, if you already have that testing done that has been completed to the EN standards or international standards, since it's a harmonized test standard, you can claim presumption of conformity and make your declaration of conformity. The only time you don't have to or you can't claim presumption of conformity is when you're not testing to harmonized standards. Then you need to get a UK notified body involved, and they're required. Please note that when you find a UK notified body, whoever you used, if you used a CE notified body, their accreditation has not directly transferred to the UK just because they broke off. So they need to be specifically qualified and noted as a UK notified body by the United Kingdoms. Applying the UKCA mark, there's just 3 simple dates to remember. From the present day until January 1st, 2022, in most cases, manufacturers will still be able to use the CE marking to sell their products in the UK. Between January 1st, 2022 and January 1st, 2023, you have to have the UKCA mark. However, you have 3 options on how to apply that. You either need to apply it to the product label, the packaging, or on an accompanying document being shipped in with the product. After January 1st, 2023, you only have one option, and that UKCA mark has to be on the product label, and that will be required for marketing your product in the UK. The UKCA mark is shown below as an example of what it will look like on your product. In addition to what we just discussed, from January 1st, 2023, the UKCA marking must be affixed in accordance, as we talked about, but in addition, the product label for the UKCA mark, not only will it mirror the CE mark goods, to ease the burden on businesses, this new UKCA marking and the new thing that we're adding here, the UK importer's address can be placed on the accompanying document until January 1st, 2023. So that's really important, the UK importer's address. In addition to this requirement is the manufacturer's authorized representative will also pretty much be the same as the UK authorized representative. However, anything marketed in Great Britain from January 1, 2021, the company and representative must be based in the UK. For most goods sold in the UK, this UK authorized representative is only voluntary. Again, mirroring the CE marking that you've done and the rules that was applied for marketing in the Europe. Generating a UK Declaration of Conformity. I have an example displayed here, and it pretty much is the same as what you're used to doing for the CE. The big notes is, of course, the title. It needs to state UK Declaration of Conformity. The manufacturer's information remains the same as before. Your authorized representative, England, if it applies, you would put that information there. It would have your product name, the model and serial number that was used for the test report that you're claiming presumption of conformity to. And where it changes here is the UK legislation that we noted earlier in the presentation, Electromagnetic Compatibility Regulations 2016 is noted instead of the EU directive. The basic or family standards are listed next, which would be BS EN 55032, 2012. If you're using 2012, this document would have to be updated next year. So not only does your document need to be created and be current, but it always has to be maintained just in case any type of dated standards change. And then, of course, if you add or your equipment requires additional testing to claim presumption of conformity, in this case, this example, it needed safety. The electrical equipment safety regulation is also listed with the British standard. The company name and address and signatory remains the same as the CE document that you're used to seeing. So again, a declaration of conformity for the UK needs to be created and be current at all times. A summary would be Brexit went into effect in January 1st, 2021, and a lot of changes have happened, but many of the processes do mirror the CE compliance. Transition times allowed by the UK have been generous, and labeling options are available until January 1st, 2023, when it's a hard set date, as the UKCA mark needs to be put on the label, the product label alone. The UKCA mark is good for products being placed in the market in Great Britain, which consists of England, Wales, and Scotland. And this is not used for Northern Ireland, even though they're part of the UK. For Northern Ireland, you would still be able to get into country using the CE mark in most cases. We've gone over a lot of information in the past few minutes, and if you have any questions, I can be reached at michael.marana@nts.com. Thank you.